So before we dive in today and talk about the money side of things, I just want to say it's fascinating how much attention we give to making things harder than they need to be. It's almost controversial to say it because we think we're like telling a lie to ourselves if we tell ourselves it's actually easier. And we think we're actually like overselling something when we tell someone, no, it's way easier than that. And yet it is. Like it really is. You know, the very first podcast episode I ever listened to was Liz Gilbert. She had her podcast at the time and she was interviewing Glennon Doyle, and they must have been on the phone. And I don't know how they recorded a phone call, but if they weren't on the phone, that's what it sounded like. Like it sounded like they were talking underwater. That was the quality of the audio. And I remember feeling so much permission because it sounded terrible and it didn't matter because the message was amazing and it didn't matter to me what it sounded like. And they were just like sharing their hearts and having this conversation and being super vulnerable and super messy, and the audio quality sucked. And I thought, oh, I can do that. Like I can create something that is like that. I could have my heart, I could be vulnerable, I could have really bad audio, and then I can put the podcast out. And so I literally recorded my podcast talking into, I'm doing it right now. I do it every day. I don't even have a microphone. Like for all the pomp and circumstance, I don't have a microphone and I don't have headphones. I literally record a podcast that is in the top, I think we're one of the top 800 podcasts of all podcasts. I have no equipment, zero. And the editing is like very little. Like it is so raw, right? I don't go back and over edit it. Emma and I don't really think that much about it. So if we're working on something, it's like, what are we creating next? What do we feel like playing with? What do we like? That's what we're using our energy on. So what I'm doing right now is I'm talking to the analytical part of your brain that just doesn't want to let go. It just hold on for dear life. And it's because that part of you at 9 years old was like, if I don't have my shit together, and if this isn't perfect, or if this doesn't seem perfect, or if I don't work hard, then something bad will happen. Like I'll be judged or this won't work. And none of that is actually true because your power is everything but that. Like what's really powerful about you is everything but that, right? It's just the most organic in the moment part of you. And so I really would love you to set down the tech piece. Like you really don't need to go overboard. And then with editing, I really would encourage you to let it be there. Remember, the most impressive thing is authenticity. And so it's more interesting if you're on the podcast and you're like, you know what? I can't believe I just said that. That's probably the best thing you said, by the way. Like the thing that you're like, I can't believe I just said that. That's probably the whole podcast. People will go, oh my God, she said what I was thinking. And like, I'm so glad she didn't edit that out. But I'm telling you that authenticity moves you so much further than over editing. So I would say, let it live, let it breathe. Like whatever was the raw audio, like put it up there, let people talk, let it roll, let it go. Like you don't have to over edit. So honestly, like your tech issues are your perfectionist issues. And perfectionism is a trauma response. It's the part of you that's trying to constantly perform and be somebody you're not. That's got to go. And that's going to literally kill your whole vibe. So let's set all of that down. And let's embrace that what matters is the message. What matters is the message. What matters is your heart, your authenticity. How vulnerable can you be? How honest can you be? How willing can you be to say something that maybe you weren't sure if you were going to share, but you're thinking it. So share it. That's what's interesting about a podcast. That's why you're doing it anyway, to be liberated, right? To actually say what you think. What could be better than actually being expressed and authentic as yourself? I mean, yeah, you get to be you. By the way, everyone's watching Wicked, which they should. I mean, it's great. But the reason we love it is because we're all wanting to have that moment of defying gravity. We're all wanting to say, you know what? I'm done. Like, I don't need you to get me. I don't need you to like me. I don't need you to understand me. I understand myself. And we're all like, yes. And so that's your choice. That choice arrives at your door every day. And every day you've been going, no, the world can't handle it. No. The world wants it. The world wants you to be a little triggering, a little bit more honest, a little bit more weird, a little bit more out there. Because guess what? Everybody's weird. That's how it turns out. So I hope that that's helpful, number one. And number two, the overthinking, the reason why it hurts so much is because there's no answers in your brain. And you actually make yourself sick. Like, not joking. Thoughts can make you sick and thoughts can make you well. And overthinking is just a really bad habit. And let's not judge ourselves because we all do it. Okay. Because we've made the brain the most important part of us. And there's no answers in it, actually. So it's okay. We all do it. But it would be nice to catch yourself when you're doing it and just say, I just went into a cortisol drip and now I don't feel well. I feel and what could I do right now to bring myself back to a resting state of equanimity? I'm going to let go of trying to figure all of this stuff out because I really can't figure it out. It's bigger than me, and I'm going to be led to it. I was thinking this morning about how I could do an entire talk and a series of talks on how everyone I've interviewed, their big moment was a moment of synchronicity that they could have never figured out. Like Sherry Salata, who became executive producer of Oprah, was a manager at 7-Eleven and then sent a resume to the Oprah show, and they were cleaning out a closet. And they called and said, can you come in for 3 weeks to temp? And she did. And then she stayed. And then she became promoted. And then she became the executive producer. And then she became the president of Harco. Like, that's insane. But every single person that I've ever interviewed, no matter how much they thought they were going to muster from overthinking, zero. Like, it all came from who they are, and being in the right place at the right time means being wherever you are, knowing you're already in the right place at the right time, and then who you are in that moment. How positive, how awake, how authentic, how loving. It's like, boom, you're the person for the job. Let's go. You're pulled right out of the field, right into where you need to be. You just pulled right into the cockpit. Right into the cockpit every single time, every single story, everyone. There's not one person that I've interviewed that doesn't have that story, not one person. So stop thinking about it. It's not going to help. Instead, what can help you immediately get into flow state? Go outside, put your feet in the grass, literally. Go talk to a friend, make some silly faces on TikTok, like literally get out of your head and just go be and go play. You'll be like, oh my God, I just had a really good idea. Like, that's it. Then follow that little breadcrumb. Just enjoy your life. That is it. The overthinking sucks. There's no answers in it. It doesn't work. Let's get rid of it. So should we dive in now to offers and money and all those things? Let's go back to the basics. Sales, which is important. Let's remember that the difference between a hobby and a business is economics. A hobby is something you do and you can just enjoy it and you can just play with it and it's your hobby and that's amazing. But if your hobby is going to turn into a business, there's going to be revenue changing hands, right? There's money that changes hands. And when that money shows up because you created something that somebody else needs and wants. It solves the problem that they have. They either want some entertainment, great, you have a ticket to a show. They want to learn something, great, you have a course. They want to buy a beautiful gift for a friend, you had that perfect vase. You solved a problem for them. They paid you because they needed or wanted the thing that you have to offer. So when you sell something, which again is healthy, it's the gas in the tank called a business. That's the money that comes in that separates it from being a hobby. So it's really healthy for a business to have revenue, and revenue is a symptom that you have the empathy to listen and solve a problem, to provide the answer and the solution for the problem someone has. So revenue, again, is a really healthy, good thing. When you make money because sales is not a numbers game. It's a people's game. Sales is people. Sales is relationship. Sales is people. Really good salespeople have a high EQ. Now, in our head, we have a picture of really bad salespeople who have low EQ, like the used car salesman. That's not a good salesperson. People who do really well in sales have the opposite. They have a really high EQ. When Reese Witherspoon created Hello Sunshine and developed it and built it, every meeting is a sale. Why is she good at that? She's good with people. Why is she good with people? She's a people person. Why'd she sell it for $1 billion? $1 billion with a B? Good with people, right? Kendra Scott built a business to $1 billion. Why? Good with people. Good people. Good people skills, good sales. Sales is people. Sales is relationship. What do people want in a relationship? Authenticity. What do they need to build a relationship? What's the glue that makes a relationship? Intimacy. Why are Jen and I so connected? There's a lot of intimacy. There's very little that we wouldn't say to each other or share. And that's what makes it so good. That's why we have a relationship. That's why we can really support each other, right? The intimacy there. So let's like really dig in. So a business needs leads, right? Because you need the people who will eventually be your customer. And again, we got to get really familiar with these words because these words are in some part of our brain labeled with like dirty words, like the word sales, customer, revenue. We've seen so much wrong stuff around that we like cringe at it. It's like, no. We got to get really in love with revenue, customers, sales. Like all of that means I have a really good message and I'm really good with people and I'm really good at truly influencing people in a healthy way. I know how to sell an idea that solves a problem that moves this person's life forward. That's amazing. At the end of the day, a really good sale means you've nailed something. You've seen the other person. You make them feel seen. You make them feel heard. And the way that they know that is because you identify that you see them, and then you identify that you have the answer to what they need. That's a good sales. Now, how does that happen? It happens when you move from a monologue to a dialogue. A dialogue creates a relationship, not a monologue. Can you imagine going on a date and it's all about the other person? Like you wouldn't want to go on a date again. In my relationship, it's really fascinating because my husband doesn't talk. So then I actually don't like that because I want him to talk. Like I don't want it to be the me show. I have enough of me. It's enough of me all day long. And so that's the irony is I'm always like, I need you to talk. So that's our whole thing is like, I'm pulling out of him, like, let me hear anything you did. Tell me about what you got at Costco. Tell me in detail. Like, tell me anything you're willing to share. But a monologue doesn't work. So the podcast has to be a little bit of both, right? You're sharing, but you want to create a two-way street. So how do you do that? Well, number one, you think about your audience when you're making your show and you're thinking about like, I'm talking to their pain point. I'm not just talking. I'm not just like, all right, guys, I'm just going to tell you about the episode of Real Housewives I watched yesterday. I'm just going to go on and on and on and then tell you about how I took my mom to the airport, because part of that could be interesting if you brought it back to like your audience. Like, and I know the reason I mentioned the thing about my mom and the reason it's got to be a dialogue. And then what's cool about a live event, now it's interactive. Now we go from this podcast, which is you throwing out a fishing line and then saying, now come be with me. Now let's create more intimacy. Let's connect more. Let's discuss this more. Let's interact around this topic. So that is how we start to build a path to sales. So live events are delicious. Now, remember back in the like Mary Kay days, or was it Avon Calling? So when we were growing up, I remember my mom inviting her friend Carla over, and she had like a Tupperware business and like Pyrex or whatever the hell it was. And like my mom would gather friends and they would all eat fruit and then they would sit around and then people would leave with the Tupperware, and that's a live launch. That's a live launch. Okay. Back in the day, Howard Schultz, before he built Starbucks, he worked at FedEx and his job was to make cold calls. But that was before people called anyone on the phone. So he would go and have an appointment. He'd walk into somebody's office and say, would you like this service? Okay. That's a live launch. That's an interaction. That's that's a meeting. If you think about most companies have, in fact, all companies have a whole part of their business that's dedicated to what? Business development. What does that mean? Taking people to lunch, giving Laker tickets to somebody, hanging out with this person, doing some live event, doing a big promotion. That's business development. Business development is basically another way for saying, make some friends fast, go be with people quickly. And so the people that usually move a business forward are the people who really understand the sales. And the sales are usually done on the golf course, taking somebody to brunch, getting somebody the front row seats to that Laker game. Like that's sales. Why? Because it's all about relationships. If you're going to buy something, let's say you're a human being who wants to buy something, which we all are, who are you more likely to buy from? The person you know and that you like, or the person you don't know? No, it's all about access. It's all about relationship. It's all about proximity. So your job is to create this path where people start to become intimate with you. So a book starts, that's the top of funnel, let's just say. A podcast, top of funnel. You throw something out there, you throw out the fishing line, and then people start to bite on the hook, right? Then you're just moving them to where you can actually spend more time with them. That's where the sale is going to happen. More of the intimacy. So like at the back of our book, there's a QR code and it says cathyhoward.com/more. And then people go there and there's a video and I'm like, hey guys. And how do you think I shot that video, by the way? Do you think I hired a professional camera crew? No, there's no intimacy in that. It's me with no makeup on, sitting there with my cat. And I'm like, hey, I'm so glad you brought my book. I'm so happy to meet you, because I want them to feel this is a real person you can be connected to. I'm your friend who you just didn't meet yet. We could have lived next door to each other. We could have gone to camp together. That's the vibe you want to create immediately, right? So I would be putting a stumbling block in front of myself if I put on all the makeup and put on a ring light and be like, hi, welcome. It's there's no intimacy in that. That is a performance. No one wants to be friends with that person. So my book is a lead gen that moves to intimacy. So when it says, hey, at the end of the book, it's come meet me at cathyhoward.com/more. People go to the link. Then I pop up, I go, hey, you came to the right place. I'm so happy you read this book. And now if you click here, you put in your email address, I'll send you the next thing. And what are they going to get sent? They're going to get sent our live launch. So then we're going to all meet and we're going to have so much more intimacy because they show up for that live launch. People say that to me all the time. I listened to your podcast for years. And then finally I clicked on one of your live launches and then I just fell in love with you. Why? Because my live launch is an opportunity to really get to know me and for me to get to know you. So it's super interactive. I'm completely and totally myself. I make lots of jokes. I laugh, I cry, I get super passionate. Sometimes I'm yelling and ranting and on your behalf, screaming and trying to wake you up. I'm just very authentic. And then people at the end will be like, I don't even care what you're selling. I need this thing, whatever you're doing. I need this intimacy. I need this friendship. I need you to help me with this. Now, I think it does matter what we're selling. We'll talk more about that, but there's a lot that goes into just the intimacy factor. So just like the book will move people to the live launch, the podcast is the beginning. That's the top of funnel. So the podcast is where I begin, throw the fishing line out, and then every 3 months since I started a podcast, I've done a live launch, which means every 90 days, it's this opportunity to go, hey, you've been listening to me. Do you want to hang out? Come hang out with me. And then people come hang out. We talk, we laugh, we do giveaways. They learn some stuff. They feel excited. They feel inspired. They take a little action. And then at the end, it's now there's an opportunity to really spend even more time with her. And do you think I'm offended when people say no? No, because it's not the point. I actually enjoy the launch itself. I really enjoy it. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. I enjoy the launch, and I'm well aware that most people won't buy the thing, but some will. That's great. And the people who want to do the next thing will do it. And then 80% of your buyers will be repeat buyers. So then they'll come back again and they'll come back again. They'll just buy everything that you sell, right? It's like you find a restaurant you love, you just go there all the time. You don't go, well, that was an amazing experience. I'll never go there again. I already went once. No, you just keep going there. The point is this. You need intimacy. Intimacy is the activator. So how do you do that? You need a funnel. And the funnel is not emails and annoying copy. It's here's where I throw the fishing line out. It's either a book, it's a podcast, it's my Instagram content, it's whatever your thing is. And then I move people through the customer journey. And the customer journey is all intimacy. So we go from one thing to the next level of intimacy, the next and the next. And so when you go from a monologue into a dialogue, you're going to have more buyers. And the reason why I like live launching is because I put zero pressure on myself or my team. I'm like, here's what I would like to see happen. Here's what would be fun. Let's see what happens. And then it's just kind of like, we learned something. That's interesting. This worked. This didn't work. But every time, halfway through, I usually say, this is so much fun. And then I'm usually somewhat surprised at the results. I'm like, oh my God, that went really well. Or, oh my God, that one didn't go as well as the last one. I wonder why. But usually halfway through, I'm like, this is so much fun. No matter what the results are, I usually say, I'm having the best time, because it's fun to be yourself, and it's fun to let go of pressure, and it's fun to just hang out with people, because people are really cool and people will surprise you. Most people are really supportive and nice, and it's fun to invite that into your life. It really is. So whatever your offer is, let's also notice this, okay? Depending on the price of your offer, you need more intimacy. So if you have like a $25 offer, you could deal with a tiny bit of intimacy. You could deal with like an email. You could deal with like a 5-minute Instagram live. When your product price goes up, whether it's a course or it's a product, it's a painting, it's a service, you make somebody's website, when your product starts costing $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, people need more intimacy to get over the hump. So then that's why if you're going to buy a car, they're like, come take a test drive. Like, you need the whole test drive to get you to the place where you're like, okay, I think I'm ready to make a decision. You need more intimacy at the higher price point. If you're going to buy a wedding dress is not going to be $14, probably going to be $1,400 or $400, which means go make an appointment. They're not going to sell it to you over the phone, because they want you to have the full intimacy, because hopefully you won't just buy the dress, you'll also buy the veil, you'll also buy the crown, you'll also buy the shoes, and they want that whole thing to happen, which means they need more intimacy, they need more time with you, they need you to come into the shop, they need to give you the champagne, give you the water, sit with you for a while, talk to your grandmother, talk to your best friend, and then by the end, they're like, did this give you enough intimacy? Are you ready to sign on the dotted line? And then usually you are, okay? So those are all live launches. A live launch is something that's happening live. And that is how you sell a higher price product. If you have a super low ticket product, you can sell it right off the podcast. You can have the podcast as enough intimacy. You can just every episode be like, yep, and buy my thing. It's $10 and here's my subscription and blah, 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 blah. And you can just be selling it every episode. But if it's a higher price point, you're going to need more intimacy. You're going to need to put in more time to develop a deeper relationship, because the deeper the relationship, the more money they'll spend. Deeper the relationship, more money they'll spend. More intimacy equals more revenue. Okay, so when you want to sell something to someone, you have to have someone to sell it to, and you have to have a relationship with that someone. And a relationship doesn't happen from like someone seeing a flyer. It happens through connection and intimacy. Once you have the relationship and you've now done that work where you've built connection with a person, which is what is needed for you to then get to the point where you can sell something, the sale happens when, we said this before, when you've identified what you've now, I'm going to use a big word, ascertained, what you've understood from this person that you can help solve. Okay, that's what you're selling. And you're really underlining it. You're really underscoring it. So in a live launch or in that bridal shop, when the woman comes in, if the salesperson is really good, she will be very emotionally attentive. She will listen. She will really hear. And then when she starts pulling stuff, she'll pull the stuff that fits the need of the person. If the woman's like, I want to feel super sexy and I want that, and then she starts bringing like long lace and high neck collars, and the woman's going to be like, I just said I want to feel like, I want something cute and something short, and the wedding's going to be in the Bahamas, like on the beach, and it's like she's not listening. If you go into a car dealer and you make a connection and the person is connected and talking to you, and you have your 3 kids with you, and then they pull up a 2-door Mini Coupe, you're going to be like, I have 3 children and I don't need a 2-door car. I need like a bigger car. You're not listening. You're not solving my problem, right? When you spend the time with someone, you're there to connect. You're there to create connection. And then you have in mind, what is it that this person needs? And do you have the answer? Now, if you really want to be in integrity and grow your business, you will always offer what you have and what you don't have, which means there might be a point where you get to the end of the conversation in one breath and you realize what the person needs and you say, you know what, I don't have that, but so-and-so sells that. You should look here, or let me refer you out. And then the person's like, oh, amazing, great, right? You don't have to have the answer to everybody's problem. But when you do want to sell something, then what you're selling is the answer to the person's problem. And that has to be super clear. And we have to all get better and better and better at that sales pitch, meaning the sales pitch is you reminding the person, here's what you told me you need. Here's the answer to that. And the answer to that is the transformation, right? So this person tells you that they're about to go spend a year in Japan, and they're wanting to learn Japanese, but everything that they've tried so far hasn't worked. And you teach Japanese, and then you say, great, I heard everything you're saying. I know that you're leaving in 60 days. And the program I have is different than the others because I can teach you blah, 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 blah. And I teach it in a way where you're going to be off to the ground running and you're going to learn what you need to learn and you'll be ready to go to Japan. Great. You just solved my problem. You just helped me, right? That pitch has to be super clear. Now, what makes that pitch clear? You naming what the person needs. They have to hear that you heard them, right? Ever been in a relationship and you want your partner to just hear you and be like, before they tell you the solution, they're like, I hear what you're saying. What you're saying is you need more quality time. So here's my solution. Or what you're saying is you would like me to make dinner more. So I'm going to do that once a week. And here's my idea. I'm going to do that on Tuesdays. You want to make the person feel heard. So that is essential, right? And everybody, just so you know, no matter what, we've talked about this before, no matter what you're selling, if you're selling logos, if you're selling your graphic design, if you're selling an iPhone, if you're selling sneakers, if you're selling a course, if you're selling a 3-night stay at a hotel, the only thing you're selling is an identity. That's it. Because people buy a possibility of who they want to become. That's it. Why do they want to choose to stay at the Four Seasons even when it's super hard to afford? Because they want to be the person who chooses to stay at the Four Seasons and what that makes them feel like as a new possibility. Why are they going to learn from a concert pianist and spend more money on piano lessons than the regular piano lessons? Because they want to say to themselves, I take lessons from a concert pianist, and that makes me feel like I have the potential to be a concert pianist. Why do people want to spend more money on dog food? Because they're like, my dog is not a dog. My dog is my child. And therefore, I'm going to spend more money on dog food because it makes me think of my dog in a new way. So ultimately, what you're doing is you're trying to tap into who does this person believe they can be? And who do you want to offer them that you can help them be? And so when you sell something, you're selling that transformation. That's ultimately what you're selling. That's why when you look at advertising, what are you looking at? You're looking at what the model in the ad is helping you aspire to. It's like, oh, wear these Skims. You're going to feel like this girl. Oh, buy this pharmaceutical product because then you'll feel like these two people who are skipping and fishing when they could have been feeling sick. Like it's all an aspirational next level identity. That's what you're buying. That's what advertising is. It's telling you a new story of who you can be. That's it. Coca-Cola is telling you we sell happiness. And when you drink this, it feels like Christmas. So you should buy it. Right? That's what they're selling. They're not really selling you soda. They're not saying, so, you know, when bubbles happen in drink, that comes from the carbon that's mixed with the no, they're just telling you a story about Christmas and happiness. And then you say, I want every day to feel like happiness and Christmas. I'm going to buy Coke as opposed to Pepsi because Pepsi tastes different and they have a totally different campaign. So when you are selling something, you want to think about who are you helping these people to become? And what is the world that gets created when they buy this product or they take this course or they go on this retreat? Who do they get to become? And so that all is you get to play with that, right? You basically get to be Willy Wonka and create a world. And that world that you paint through your words becomes a possibility that they can now expand into. So that's why we do a live launch in any capacity, to take it from something passive where they're listening to a podcast or they're reading a book and now they're going to interact with whatever this is. And so that's why engagement is the most important thing. So you can engage with people in the comments on your Instagram, or you can engage with people in person at a Tupperware party, or you can engage with people at a live launch on Facebook. We need engagement. Engagement is you moving the person from throwing out the fishing line down through the customer journey. So that's how we sell. We build the relationship and then we solve the problem that we just came to know about in the relationship. So it's actually really fun. So when you start to think about it like this, it starts to feel different, doesn't it? It goes from feeling cringy, like, oh God, I'm going to do a live launch, to, oh, I'm really good with people. I really like people. I really want to be with people. And then you take the pressure off yourself. Like, this is not a monologue. This is now time to ask questions. Like, tell me about yourself. Tell me about this. Tell me about that. How can I be helpful? And then it's very clean because you're like, I don't know how to, you, I can help. You, I can't. You should go to this person. You should look over here. And you, I don't even know the answer to how to help you, but you three, I can help you guys. And it's just very in integrity and it feels really fun. And you'd be so surprised how much money you make from doing that. And you are all sitting on, by the way, a gold mine of things that you can sell, because everybody has 45 things that they do, skills that they have that people will pay for. You just don't necessarily value them the way other people would, which is why at the beginning of this, we said, ask a few friends, what do they come to you for? But I'm telling you that there are so many things that you can provide that people would find a transformation in. And the more offers you make, the more money you make. And that's the bottom line. So the less offers, the less money. At the end of the day, you will have to have the audacity to offer to solve someone's problem. At the end of the day, the only way you are going to make money is to have the bold audacity to believe that you could be the answer to someone's problem. And the biggest hurdle is that you will tell yourself that that is such a fraud. That's the problem. You will tell yourself, I don't have what can help somebody. I'm stealing. I'm doing something wrong. It's so not true. It's actually, a Yiddish word for that is like chutzpah. It's actually the opposite. It's actually like so arrogant to think that whatever you have is not enough. It's like spitting in the face of God. It's like, you think that all of this that you have, this magic that lives in you, and there's so much of it, like some people are just, like my sister-in-law came over the other day. I just bought a ukulele, a new one. I go, she's really good at this. I go, can you tune my ukulele? Because when you get a new ukulele, it gets out of tune really easily because the strings have to stretch. That's a whole separate topic. Anyways, so I have a tuner, but every time I go to tune it, it gets out of tune. She takes the ukulele and she goes like this, closes her eyes and starts tuning my ukulele with her ear. No tuner, she's just tuning it. She's like this freak skill that she can like hear the notes in her head. So I say to her, I'm like, that's insane. And I've seen her do it before, which is why I asked her to do it. But I'm like, it's every time she does, I'm like, that is actually insane. She's like, oh yeah, I don't know. I can just do that. I'm like, are you insane? Like, what I'm saying is, you're sitting on gifts that God just gave you. And you're like, no, it's nothing. I actually think it's horrible. I would never sell it. I'm such a fraud. It's like, are you insane? Like, it's actually so arrogant. It's like, you've just been given a gift. Help people, share it. What are gifts for? Gifts are meant to be given. Why are you hoarding it? It's so weird. Like, I have a gift that basically for my whole life, people will say to me, I don't know what it is, but after I talk to you, I just got over myself and I just did the thing. You just like activated me. You just like energized me. I don't know how you did that, but like I've been talking to my husband about this for 8 years. I talked to you once and then I just did it. So whatever that is, I don't know what that is, but that's my gift. So would it be nice of me to be like, well, I don't know if that's really anything. I'm not going to, it's like, no, that's a whole thing. That's a whole thing. Like the fact that there's some way, I don't know why, this like ridiculousness, but like it takes this face with the freckles and the girl who's like all over the place. Like somehow I'm the person who gets the person out of their own way. Great. Let me be used for that. I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to do it. Like, but I would be such an a-hole if I was like, well, I've decided that's not worth anything. So I won't put that out there because what you really need is you need a PhD. You need a guy who went to Wharton. You need that guy. It's like, no, he doesn't do this. So I would be rude if I'm like, well, whatever this is, you don't need it. You need him. No, you need this. And some people don't need this, which is also okay because I can be so annoying to some people. They have every right to find me annoying because it is annoying. And to other people, it's not annoying at all. It's like music. Okay, great. So I'm saying get over yourself. And just know whatever your gift is, if you have empathy, if you have compassion, if you have the ability to do things, let people pay you for it, right? Yesterday, we had a bunch of people working on this event. And one of these women, she made a flower mart in my house. She literally went and got flowers so that people could make their own bouquets. It was magnificent. And she said to me like this, she sent me a picture And she said, would you like me to create this for your event? And then when you zoom in, it says the name of my book, Abundant Ever After. Okay. So I'm like, yeah. And so she's like, okay, I'll create it. Then I'll send you an invoice. And she sent me what the invoice was. And it was $800 for her to get all these flowers, set them up, get the twine and I love that. I'm so happy that she created that offer to like make that happen. Like that was worth it to me. It was so worth it, right? Imagine if she would have been like, who am I to offer this? I don't even know what this is. I'm not even the florist. I'm just getting the flowers and I'm putting them together. It's like, no, I want that. Sell me that. Come and build it and sell me that and let me buy it, right? And then other friends were like, who did that? How did she do that? I'm like, oh. So I said to her, you should sell this to other people. She's like, really? Yesterday. I'm like, yeah, you practiced on me. Give it to other people. Other people want that in their house. They want a flower mart for their party. And people made their own bouquets. It was like so cute. People took it home. So you're sitting on gold and you're talking yourself out of it because you're spitting in God's face. He already gave you a million skills. It's already enough. Stop. Get over it. Sell it. Whatever your thing is. Do it. Share it. Make it. Put it in the world. People want to buy the thing that they need. Remember, you're not trying to convince someone to buy something they don't need. That's not your buyer. You're talking to the person who needs the thing you make. You're not saying, I want to sell this to someone, and this is a person. Let's say you make the best burgers, and you're like, okay, my job is to convince all the vegans to buy this. No, they're not your audience. They don't want to buy it. You're not solving their problem. But the person who wants a grass-fed organic smash burger, and you make it on some like weird sourdough roll or whatever, you don't have to convince them. They're looking for that. You just have to tell them you have it and tell them that you're solving their problem because you make it even better or more delicious or more organic than the other burgers that they already buy. Those are your customers. So when you get to the end of your live launch, whatever it is, you start with the podcast and you move into your, whatever your little event is, you either have 10 people there or 100 people or 10,000, it doesn't matter. You are selling to the person who you've now identified has the problem you know how to solve. And the people whose problem you don't have, you don't sell to them. You don't have to sell to that person. Isn't that a relief? You don't have to convince your Aunt Judy, who always gives you the side eye. She's not your customer. Let her go. And guess what? Your audience is you. They speak your language. They already love you because they're just like you. Of course they want to spend $20 at Air One for a smoothie. They don't need to be convinced. They already know they're going to get organic and they're going to spend the money on it. Their product is their food. You don't have to convince them. But somebody who eats McDonald's every day, they're going to definitely not want a $20 smoothie. Not interested. Great. Don't sell to them. Let it go. Let them have their filet of fish. It's fine. So does this help? Are you ready to start launching? Please, for the love of God, get it out there. It's so fun. Go talk to your people. You don't have any Aunt Judy's in your live launch. And if you have one or two, it's okay. She'll see her way up. She'll be like, this person is crazy. And that's fine. She'll leave. No problem. It's fine. You know, my friend Rebecca sells her paintings for $35,000. I'm sure that some people are Aunt Judy and would say, why would I pay you? You're not Picasso. And you know what? She's done really well. She has her own place on the Upper East Side. Enough people bought those $35,000 paintings. Other people just think it looks like a mess. But this is her thing. She's been doing it a long time. We're the same age, and she's been doing it since she's 25. So she's doing fine. You know, some people just don't get art. Okay, who cares? Move on. Doesn't matter. They're not your buyers, right? Her buyers are very specific people. And for them, boy, does she solve a problem. They buy from her over and over and over again. And her name is Rebecca Schweiger, and this is her painting on Instagram. And yeah, she sells beautiful work. I once made the mistake in my early 20s when we were friends. I was like, I want to buy one of your paintings. I want to support you. And she's like, great, which one do you want? And then I went to her website and I was like, I can't afford this because they're expensive. And you know what? Good for her. And it's really fascinating too, because you think that you're doing your world a favor or you're doing your business a favor by charging less. It's actually the opposite. The more money something is, the more people believe there's perceived value in it. And so by actually charging less, you are making the person believe instantly that it is less valuable. And so you're deciding that. And so instead of selling value and getting behind what you do and saying, this is not just like when I sell courses, my courses, like because I'm here live so often, and because I know what happens in a live transmission, there's nothing like a live transmission. I'm like, of course, I know that this is valuable. And it's not a $500 thing because it's not pre recorded, which would still be interesting, but not like this. And so I get behind the value of it because I know that if you invest that kind of money, you'll actually show up. And then when you show up live like this, it changes your life. I know because I do things like that. There's nothing like the live transmission. There's nothing like it. I invest in that in myself. So I want to call in people who would invest in that in themselves because I know the difference. So get behind the value and don't patronize people. You have a group of people in your world who want to pay for the value. They don't want to pay less for less value.